Now the mainstream access media is admitting that the MCU exists. The MCU Stage 4 is as follows. No such thing as the MCU. There is no MCU, but maybe there should be. You're bitching about the term MCU. Let's recap briefly. First, there wasn't an MCU. Disney, Marvel, and Kevin Feige created the MCU. I just gave it a slogan that was supposed to be a joke that ended up sticking because it's the MCU. Probably has the most even approach to the MCU theory that's very much a reality. But as I said, this isn't necessarily superhero fatigue as much as it's bad movie and MCU fatigue. No, I'm not anticipating any hard-hitting questions, but let's hear from the man himself. After a year of MCU failures, the origins of the MCU, of course, come from the relatively new comics. And that was the inception of the MCU. And then the prelude film of the MCU, The Wasp and Ant-Man. So what is the MCU? The MCU is ridiculous gender swaps. So that's the MCU casting female writers and directors and not hiring them. But I will say Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is a fitting season finale to the MCU. And how do they follow that up? By killing him off screen and making the MCU a household name. Then it's a race to have the women. Admittedly, it is appropriate that the poster child for SJW Marvel that helped bury the publisher is in the season finale for the MCU. Wakanda Forever, or Women Forever, perfectly sums up the MCU and the current problems with Disney Marvel. And about that synergy between Marvel Comics and the MCU, well, like I said, it has never been closer. Ingratitude that is ingrained into the Marvel Comics staff has bled up to the MCU because the ingratitude continues, and it also seems that Kevin Feige has gone to the Tim Miller School of Film Promotion. So we are well on our way into the MCU and a couple of hours away from the beginning of Marvel Phase 4. But there's no guarantee things are going to get better, but we are guaranteed for at least a year of the MCU, possibly more. Black Widow is on track to make $140 million worldwide. I want to talk about sexism and the MCU. Thor isn't here to be easy on the eyes for you.
Flip too hard, damn it!
And in the next MCU film I'm going to see, our titular character, Thor, isn't the king of Asgard. He's playing second fiddle to Valkyrie. Let me know when you start noticing the patterns. And I know, of course, there's no such thing as the MCU.
You get used to it.
And now the end is near, and the MCU is about to face its final curtain. Unfortunately, it's taking the rest of the superheroes with them. What does this have to do with the MCU, you ask, dear viewer? Well, quite a bit, and we'll get into that. Now, we know just a couple of months ago, Kevin Feige, the head of the MCU and the architect of its current destruction, which no one asked for and no one wants, which proves that Kevin Feige is prioritizing the MCU that he created. Again, they introduced Echo, Miss Marvel, America Chavez, and Ironheart before the Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, and all the X-Men. Poster child for what was known as the SJW Marvel era, which were the early origins of the MCU, is being killed off. And then there's the MCU, where she made her first live-action debut in the D+ series Miss Marvel. And she won't be dying in the MCU anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I think the MCU will die before her. So what does the MCU have to do with stockholders suing? And the current slate of the MCU. When did this all begin? What are the origins of the MCU? Well, they're mixed in with the origins of identity politics being infused in Marvel Comics. The MCU Phase 4, which we will now call Stage 4, has not been doing very well, and everything we have witnessed has been diminishing returns. This is an intellectual property in entropy. I also think Black Panther, along with the Wasp and Ant-Man, and yes, I call it the Wasp and Ant-Man, were precursors for things to come with the MCU. A wonderful conclusion to Phase 4. It celebrates women as the fiercest protectors of all. Oh, MCU. Oh, and we'll get to Hot Girl. Oh, I'm sorry. The Scarlet Scarab. And yes, indeed, we have another entry into the MCU Marvel Phase 4. And she got the big hero moments because this is the latest entry into the MCU. The Hawkeye finale coming out on the same week as Spider-Man No Way Home really shines a light on the failures of the MCU, and it shows you what success really looks like. Now, a lot of people out there, including yours truly, have argued that the MCU Phase 4 is directionless, but I have to say, I think they've set out and done exactly what they wanted to do. Vandalize all the previous characters so they can bring in the all new, all different Marvel, and you're all gonna love them because everything's a mantle, right? Right? No, 2023, and now it's being released in November. Quite frankly, I was disappointed every time because I am more excited for this film than any other in the MCU, and Christmas has come early for content creators. Woman the accuser. If there's any men left in the MCU, they're about to get space me too. The MCU is no longer dying. The MCU is dead. Even the Access Media has called out Marvel for having a directionless Phase 4, but I would argue they have done exactly what they set out to do. The MCU segment of the content exemplifies, I think even better than Captain Marvel, the hero's journey, and I don't think there's a single scene that shows just how far the MCU has fallen into MCU than this.
Here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time.